Hey, this is Matt One City, and welcome back to another video. It's another paid request, this time for Jonathan. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this time it is for London, a film from 2005, which I had never heard of before, because it's got Chris Evans, you got Jason Statham, you got Jessica Biel. Jessica Biel had just been in Chainsaw Massacre 2003 remake. Chris Evans and, of course, Chris Evans will go on to be Captain America. Jason Statham, people know him. Those two worked together before in a film called Cellular, which I thought was a pretty good thriller. But this one, I've never seen the director's work, if he did any other work. He wrote, directed this. It did some pretty good ratings, 6.6 IMDb. I just don't know why, because I was not a fan of this film. It's pretty much Chris Evans. He finds out that his ex-girlfriend is having a going-away party because she is moving to LA with her new boyfriend. And Chris Evans is upset about this. He wasn't invited, he didn't know about it, he wasn't told about it. So he's ready to go to that party, but before that, he goes to a bar, talks with one or two folks, and Jason Statham is there. Jason Statham is a banker who is doing a favor for this dealer to give Chris Evans these drugs, cocaine and such. And Chris Evans is like, hey, why you come with me to the party? I don't want to do that. Like, I don't know you, blah, blah. Oh, come on, it'll be fun. And ultimately gets Statham to go with him to the party. And then it's just, I was trying to be like contemplative about love and the loss of love, and I just didn't think it worked. I don't think the acting by Chris Evans or Jason Statham are bad. Even Jessica Biel I thought did fine. But you have some kind of pointless cameos. I thought the movie pretty much dragged. I don't know if the movie's trying to be Tarantino or trying to be whatever with his dialogue, or because it's kind of just Statham and Chris Evans in the bathroom, because no one's at the party yet, or barely anyone's there yet, and they're kind of just talking back and forth about stuff, about whatever they want to talk about. Another girl comes in and is taking a leak, and the three of them are having a conversation about God, and she tells a story about this mama rabbit, and her babies were taken away, and her babies were shot, and not in front of her, but far, far away. But like somehow the rabbit mom knew because they had her hooked up, and she had these heart palpitations anytime that happened. And or there's a story of a twin passing away, and then this other twin felt it, or same thing happened to him. I'm like, okay, like, where's this going? I don't really find the conversation that interesting. Or they're talking about other aspects, like Statham tells a big old story about him going to S&M and BDSM, and details about a woman taking a leak in his mouth. It was a pleasant experience. I don't need to hear about the transporter having some lemonade, the bad lemonade, the worst lemonade into your mouth. I don't need to hear that. Or about, well, sometimes they do the caca on your face. And it cuts to like flashes of, thankfully not the dirty details, but a woman sitting down with her bare butt, and there's Statham or someone lying down. Thankfully they don't go further than that. I appreciate that. But these are kind of the conversations, and they're kind of just intermixed with Chris Evans having these flashbacks to his relationship with Jessica Biel and how toxic it was, because he was always paranoid about, is she doing this guy, is she doing that guy, how big is he, blah 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 blah. She's like, what are you talking about? Pretty much him being controlling, also never being able to say the words I love you. And you can see why she left him. Most people in this movie are creeps and thugs, and I get it. There are movies you can watch that have unlikable people. Reservoir Dogs. Reservoir Dogs is an example. But Tarantino was a more interesting writer than this guy. I'm sorry. That's just my blunt opinion. The stories and they just felt like they led nowhere. And I thought this was a waste of Chris Evans and Jason Statham's time. No wonder I never heard of it. And it's called London because Jessica Biel's character's name is London. Once in a while they go out of the party and someone gets mad that Chris Evans is there. What's he doing here? We can't let Biel's character see him. And then you have these, when I said pointless cameos, like Dane Cook, I believe, is Jessica Biel's new boyfriend, but I believe he is, but I say I believe because he really doesn't have anything merit to do. Not really anything funny to say. Whether you liked or dislike Dane Cook, he was a comedian, and didn't he do a film with Jessica Biel? Was that Good Luck Chuck, or was that another actress? I can't remember. I barely remember that movie. For good reason. But it's like, did Dane Cook just do this for a favor? Like, also Louis C.K. has a pointless role as a therapist in a flashback Chris Evans has. And again, Louis C.K. doesn't really do, Fu Manchu, like anything. So what was the point of him? Whether you liked or disliked him, you have Louis C.K., Dane Cook. Those are comedians. They're not here to really do anything. Like pointless cameos. Look at that guy. You recognize that guy? And then they're gone. I mean, like I said, I give credit to the acting, especially when Statham loses it on Chris Evans. Just Chris Evans talking about how he learned how big her new boyfriend was and it crushed him. And at one point, there was I think a dog they had, and something or another, he took the dog's medicine, which really messed him up. But Jessica Biel thought he tried to end himself and went to the hospital. And so that story was projected when I guess it wasn't the case. But I'm sitting there going, I don't care about your love life. I don't care. You should not get back with Jessica Biel's character. You don't deserve to get back with Jessica Biel's character. You're not a good person. You're not even that interesting. I feel like Steve Martin in Planes, Trains, Automobiles. You tell a story, have a point. It makes it so much more interesting for the viewer. I guess the point is that at the end, he finally says, I love you, but it's not enough. It's too late. And the answer is, why did you not say that sooner? Spoiler alert, super spoilers. Jason Statham gives, I thought, a really good emotional speech about his problems with used to be his wife, and that he was impotent and he felt ashamed and mad and angry because he couldn't please his wife like other people, before they were married did. And Statham really showing the anger, the outrage. Like, you think you got problems? We all have problems. This is my problem. And just, that's when I came close to feeling sorry for Statham's character. I mean, for the rest of it, he's pretty, posh. Well, that's not the right word, but he's, like I said, not in either weird conversations about defecation or peeing in the mouth or other stuff. But I mean, Statham is trying to be a little bit of that Lost Dodgers 2 Smokey Barrel era of dialogue for Statham. And Statham actually has hair in this. So I'm guessing it looked like a weird wig. I'm sure it was a wig. If it wasn't, then it looked kind of like a wig, at least to me. Maybe it wasn't. But just, oh wow, because I'm so used to Statham being shaved. And by the end, pretty much what happens is, after Statham has this big moment, and Chris Evans kind of has a bit of an epiphany, I guess. And Statham's like, you gotta go talk to that girl, you gotta go say something, you gotta do it. If you're not gonna do it for you, you gotta do it for me. He does, a fight breaks out, Evans gets kicked out, Jason's There's no transporter type of fighting. It's more like a little bit of a brawl, a little bit, just a little bit. Chris Evans and Jessica Biel get into a car. They start talking. They start making out. Statham says bye to Evans. They make love. Evans and Biel, not Evans and Statham. Although with Statham's BDSM, I would not. And some of the other stuff, not just that, but some of the other stuff you talk about, I wouldn't be surprised if it went in that direction, but it doesn't. But even with Biel and Chris Evans making love and saying I love you, it's not enough, and she still goes on, which I find refreshing because she shouldn't be with this guy. It would never work. And to be frank, he doesn't really deserve it. But I mean, I guess a story of love and whatever else. But I mean, as much as I don't like the Kevin Smith of today, I thought Kevin Smith did that a bit better in a film called Chasing Amy. And there's been other movies that have dealt with that type of subject matter too, breaking up and things of that nature. There's one I'm trying to remember what it was called. Was it Sam Rockwell? I forget who was in it, but I know it ended with him walking away and the girl is running towards him and the mom has to stop the kid. Because it just shows they're never going to work out. If it wasn't Sam, I forget who it was, the actor. But yeah, I don't remember the movie too much. But I do remember that being better than this. As vague as I remember it. So, I mean, I guess the whole point is love sucks and then you die. I mean, okay. A great point, but some would say a moot point. I mean, do you need a movie to remind you of that? Like I said, I just don't find the film that visually stimulating, camera work wise, cinematography wise. It's, a bathroom, a party. There's not much to look at. I don't think there was a whole lot of style. And it comes off as just kind of random stories to fill out the time. At least I found them, for the most part, filler and random. And they get high on drugs, they talk a bit, and that ending happens. It's pretty much the movie. So yeah, it didn't really do much for me. If it did for other people, that's fine, but it just wasn't that funny. Maybe a few moments with Jason Statham, but I don't think it was that funny. I didn't really care about the characters. I didn't want to be around these characters. And you kind of go, well, there's really no point to going to the party in the first place because she said no anyway. But maybe he'll get over it, or maybe he'll move on, or maybe any of the sort. Maybe that's the point. I don't know. Technically, we don't know because you don't really see what happens too much afterward. But that's London. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later.